For joining us and welcoming Breanna Stewart and Courtney Vandersloot to the New York Liberty. We also have General Manager Jonathan Kolb, Head Coach Sandy Brondello, and Team Governor Clara Wutsai here today. First, we'll hear from Jonathan, then Clara before we open up for Q&A. So Jonathan, I'll pass it to you to kick us off.
Thanks, Alicia. Good morning, and thank you so much for being here, and also welcome to everybody joining us on Zoom and everywhere on the internet. This is, I think I'm speaking for everybody when I say what an exciting day this is to welcome two of the most talented, decorated, competitive winners that the WNBA has ever seen to the New York Liberty organization. In Breanna Stewart and Courtney Vandersloot. It's a big day. I got to be honest, it's a bit surreal today. This is something where. Sorry, what's up?
I agree.
Oh, you agree? Yeah. It's a day. It kind of marks the end of one journey that began 4 years ago, and it starts another that we trust will continue for years to come. 4 years ago, we started a rebuild, and it was a build that it took time and years to craft this into the end goal, which is a roster that is very capable of competing for a title and bringing the first home to New York. And lastly, if I can just say something real quick before I get over to Clara about these two people next to me. They're taking less. They're truly taking less to come here and win. And that is not an easy decision. And New York is not easy. But they've welcomed the challenge with open arms. And I can't tell you how relieved I am to no longer call them competitors, but instead to call them partners. So with that, I'll go ahead and get over to Clara.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks everyone for joining us today and for sharing a really special and important moment with us. It's truly a new era for the New York Liberty franchise. And at the beginning of this offseason, we set a goal to really assemble the best possible team that we could in order to contend for a championship. And I really think that we are in a position to do this. So today we officially welcome Breanna Stewart and Courtney Vandersloot. Jonathan already alluded to, their how decorated they are, but I think it always bears repeating that Stewie and Sloot are truly winners. Breanna is a two-time WNBA champion, 2018 league MVP, 2 times finals MVP, and a 4-year All-Star. Courtney is a WNBA champion, the 3rd all-time assist leader for the league, and a 4-year All-Star. And of course, they joined Jonquil Jones, 2021 MVP, also a 4-year All-Star. And they also join a very talented roster of highly motivated, highly competitive athletes. And I have to say that what unifies our roster really is this shared sense of purpose. And I think it unifies the roster and also JK and Sandy and myself and Joe. And, we're really unified by this collective desire to win. And I think this team that we've assembled, it's all about winning, and it's really all about raising the standards of excellence. When Joe and I acquired the team in 2019, we decided to invest in the Liberty and the league for the long term. And we're especially committed to player health and well-being, ensuring adequate player rest and recovery, and really raising that standard for all the players in the league. And really behind that investment is just a true intention to position this team and the league for continued success and growth, really along all metrics, including national awareness, corporate sponsorship, TV ratings, fans in the building. So that's our commitment. And we're so pleased to have Courtney and Breanna join us. And it's going to be a great season. I'm excited for this season, and the future is really bright. Barclays is going to be rocking. New York hasn't seen a basketball championship since 1973, and I think this team is ready to bring one home.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Now we are going to open up for questions. We have folks here in the room and we also have folks on Zoom. So want to prioritize everyone, want to try to get to everyone. We're going to start with questions for Breanna and Courtney. After that, we will open up for questions for Clara, Jonathan, and Sandy. So I'm going to start right here with Doug. Please give us your name, publication. Thanks.
Doug Feinberg, The Associated Press. Stewie and Courtney, first off, welcome to New York. You guys have won titles in the WNBA separately. You've won titles together, I believe, in EuroLeague. What would it mean to bring the first title to New York, as Clara said, to the basketball since '73 and the first one ever for this franchise, one of the original WNBA teams?
Well, I think like you said, Sloot and I have played a lot together, won a lot together, won a lot separately, but I speak for myself and I believe Sloot when I say that we both wanted to play together in the WNBA and go after a WNBA championship together. It's much better to be on her side than playing against her. And we're really excited with the opportunities that we have here, the players that have been here, the franchise, the front office, and knowing that we have all the pieces to go after a championship. And now it's just getting ready for that and getting ready for the season.
Just to add to that, I think we probably, well, you maybe don't know, but I was a part of a like a first time champion in the Chicago Sky, and I do know how special that first one is. And so, you know, it's obviously been a long time since New York had one, but to bring that first one for the Liberty, it is something special. And of course, there's a lot of work to do before that, but like I think everyone up here spoke about, we had the right pieces, we have the right vision, and you know, that's the ultimate goal.
Hi, Alexa Philpott with ESPN. Could you both speak to the recruitment process throughout free agency? I'm sure it was probably different than other free agency times that you all have experienced. And what was it about the Liberty's pitch, more or less, or how they showed their investment in you that made you want to come here?
Well, for me, it was just like the plan, the vision right away. It was so clear. It was not dependent on this or, you know, if this happens or this happens. It's like, this is what we see. This is what we're going to go do. We want to bring a championship. We want to bring the best players here. We're going to take care of you. It was everything that, you know, I think I speak for both of us that we're looking for. You know, they're really pushing the envelope in all areas. And I think we bought into how special it would be to bring a championship to New York.
Yeah, and I think, still Andrew? Okay. No, I think that, first of all, when I think about the recruitment process, it is wild, and it's wild to have done it 2 years in a row, because it brings me back to just college recruiting, just the way it goes like that, meeting people, seeing organizations. And what ultimately helped me decide on New York, obviously closer to home, I have roots here, but I want to be surrounded by greatness. And when you look at these people up here and the many people that are a part of the Liberty organization, everybody wants to be better. Everybody wants to continue to raise the standard and move the needle. And we want to do that from on the court, off the court, whatever the case may be, to help this organization and the league be better.
Hello, welcome to New York. Stewie, in your case, welcome back. Jeff Maglicetti with All Knicks and Baseline Sports NYC. Kind of a two-part question here. Why was now the right time to end illustrious careers in championship locales to move on to what New York is developing? And how will your respective unique skill sets mesh with the current New York group and help guide them to their lofty goals?
I think now is the right time to do it. I don't think last year I was ready to completely leave Seattle, and especially with Sue coming back, wanting to really enjoy and appreciate the opportunity to play with one of the greatest to ever play. And now looking at New York, I also have the opportunity to play with one of the greatest to ever play. And it's just about timing, and that's really it. I didn't feel like my journey was complete in Seattle when I was a free agent last year, and now this year, my family and I, we were ready. We were ready to make the move, and just ready to kind of start a new chapter. in my career and in the WNBA. And the second question, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
How will your unique skill set mesh with the current group?
Oh, yeah. I think meshing with the current group of players and obviously the coaching staff is going to be really exciting just because we have a ton of talent. You can look at the roster from top to bottom and it's tough to find any holes in it just from what players can do. We've played with JJ before overseas. I've played USA basketball with Benaja and Sabrina. Steph, I played with in college. So it's like I've played with a lot of these players just in a different setting. And now to come together, it's a really special opportunity because I think things like this don't happen often, where you have so much talent and so many amazing players. And the selflessness of all of us is what's going to help us succeed.
Hey there, Meredith Cash with Insider. Welcome to New York. You mentioned earlier, this is for both of you, but Stewie, you mentioned earlier that, it feels surreal to actually be here, look around. What are you feeling right now? And what has it been like since you actually arrived in New York for this?
Well, I just got here yesterday, so it hasn't been that long. But Sloot and I were coming over in the car just an hour ago, and it's like, can you believe it? Like, we can't believe that it's actually here. We actually were able to make it happen. A lot happened. I didn't know what Sloot was going to do. Still waiting on things to happen during free agency, and just excited. And I think it's going to feel surreal, and it's not going to feel really real probably until we practice. And I'm in Liberty clothes and working out and getting ready for a game here. But it just makes me excited. It makes me excited on all fronts to be embraced in this community on and off the court, in a basketball city, and know that, the fans are excited for us to be here too, because it seems like sales are going pretty well.
All right, we're gonna head over to Zoom really quickly. Howard Megdal.
Thanks a lot. Thank you all for taking the time to chat. Stewie, my question's for you just from a continuity perspective. You touched on it a little bit, but you've done something similar overseas where, playing with Sloot, playing with JJ. I'm just wondering, how long does that process typically take? And what are some specific ways that you go about making that work on the court and off the court that have worked overseas for you?
Well, I think great players want to play with other great players. And when you have those great players, they know and they respect the people to the left and right of them so much that they know that they can make this work. And yes, we've all had success individually. When you look at the whole roster, everyone's had success. But as a collective group, this team has not yet. And that's a goal that I think that we're really interested in figuring out how to check that box. And I think it's just respect. You know what everyone can do, and putting people in the best position possible to be great, so then we can all be great together.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Jackie Powell with The Next. For both Stewie and Sloot, in both of your careers, you've been people who have been on teams that were maybe more up and coming, they were underdogs, they were rebuilding. And then you've also been on teams that have had targets on their backs. And so I guess what I'm wondering is, how do you impart that adjustment, that change in mentality toward the younger group around you that maybe hasn't yet experienced that in the WNBA?
I think as a group, you have to just focus on yourselves. We're from day one. Everybody's going to have to sacrifice. Everybody up here, every player on the roster. But it's all for the better good. It's all to win, and it happens fast and smooth if you're all in it to win. And like kind of Stewie, if you respect each other, we all want each other to be great. We want each other to be the best that they can be, and that in turn makes us the best team. And it's not always going to be smooth, and that's the way the season goes. And I think we understand that. There may be a learning curve with each other that we're all coming together, but we have the right pieces. We have the right goals. And so we'll let the rest take care of itself.
Yes. Now I'm just blanking a little bit on the question. Can you just give me a recap real quick? Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I remember. Well, I think that, when you're playing basketball in New York, you're automatically in the spotlight. So yes, maybe it's not particularly a target, but everyone's being watched. People are paying attention to the Liberty here. And I think that, when you're in these successful positions, when you have a team that's won a championship, when you're, fighting for a championship, when you're trying to build for a championship, it's more about what we're doing internally than what's happening externally. And yeah, there's going to definitely be a target on our backs already. People are already going to be wanting to see what we can do, what we can't do, trying to exploit things left and right, I'm sure. But as long as we come together as a team, then that's really all that we're concerned about up here.
All right, we're going to go back to Zoom very quickly. Mark Schindler.
Hi, first of all, congrats to both you guys. I'm really excited to watch y'all gel and play. But Stewie, question for you. Obviously, Benijah has been here and been a big part of revamping and starting things up in New York. You guys had some battles back in the AAC, back 2012 to 2015. I was wondering what your relationship's been like with her and just kind of watching her grow simultaneously while you have.
Yeah, I've actually known Benijah since I was 14. We played 16 under USA basketball together, and have really been competitors for a while. And to be honest, to see her, come into the WNBA, kind of figure out where her footing is and find a home in New York and really find success in that, I think is amazing. Just to see that her fight and her hard work and her grit has never stopped. And she knew that she could be at this stage and at this level, and excited to have her be on our side, or to be on her side, because I know that she just doesn't stop working and she wants to win and she's a competitor, and that's what we all love about her.
Thank you.
Hey, Courtney, Miles Ehrlich, Winsider. Hi, over here. You've played alongside both Breanna and also Jonquel in Russia. So as a point guard, how did their two games differ? And when you're talking about forwards that can score from all over, but you're trying to set them up to score?
Well, they're two of the best to do it. So they translate really well. They play together really well. It's hard. Their skill sets are so unique, but also they're just good at everything. So they're really fun to play with because they play well off each other. Obviously, Jonquel can stretch the floor, and Stewie can play under the basket and vice versa. It's just it makes it difficult to guard in pick and rolls, and pick and roll coverages are ridiculous with those two. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I think they're going to elevate my game, and I'm going to try to do the same for them.
Good morning. My name is Fifi Frimpong from the Daily News. This question is for the two of you. Clara Rusai and Josai have been on the forefronts to advocate for you all to get charter flights to and from games, and you, so we have spoken in the past of trying to get that deal possible. Since getting here to New York and in talks during negotiations, have you two spoken with the team owners to kind of make that deal happen, and what have those conversations been like?
Yeah. No, I think that it's a conversation that needs to be had, and it's a topic that needs to be talked about. I think that when we talk about pushing the needle and raising the bar and elevating the WNBA, it's also that, it's also player health and wellness, and what's going to make us be able to travel cross country or whatever the case may be and be ready to play our best, because we want to play our best to win, but we also want to play our best to be in front of new fans, season ticket holders, things like that. And when talking to Clara and Joe, they also feel the same way. We're fighting to elevate the standard, and you know, I think I've said this before, but it's something that hopefully is not just a no and can turn to a maybe. And then hopefully eventually can turn to a yes in regards to charter flights and just know that, you know, we're never going to stop working and trying to be better. I talked about greatness before, and that comes from this organization, but also beyond. We want to make sure that when I'm done playing, which hopefully isn't for a while, and Sloot's done playing, which hopefully isn't for a while, that the next generation that comes in and the waves after that, they're going to be set up to have success and not have to worry about tedious things. And they just can only try and be better and more great.
Hi, Pepper Pursley here with Dish with Pepper. So welcome to New York, both of you. I do have a question for Stewie. And I have to ask a question I'm sure everyone has been thinking about. Those emojis you tweeted out had everybody talking. And I wanted to know the message you were really sending. Were any of those selected by Ruby? And what was the deal with the pepper emoji specifically?
Oh, I just really enjoyed the emoji time. I you know, thought it was a way to bring in some playful opportunities and situations, but also some of them did make sense. The first one I tweeted, the equal sign was just like perfectly placed in the middle. It wasn't an equation. It was just for equality, but the way it was lined up was different. But I think some made sense and some didn't, but continuing to just advocate for things that we need: airplanes, charter, equal sign, equality, money. Obviously, everyone knows what that means. Pepper, your emoji. Wow, you have your own emoji. That's amazing. Just to bring a little bit of spice into the situation. I think that, you know, that's what we all need.
All right, we're going to go to Zoom. Maggie Hendricks, Chicago Valley.
Good morning, ladies. One of the things, Stuart, that Breanna, you said was that great players want to play with great players, but you both had to take less to be able to do that. So what does that say about the league? And are you worried about setting a precedent that that's what you have to do to win a championship?
I'm not
And
worried
that could
about
be for both of you. Sorry.
Okay, do you want to answer?
No, I mean, we're.
I'm not worried about setting a precedent. I think what we're setting a precedent for is to be willing to play with other great players and to want to win and to do whatever we can to make that happen. It's not my decision that the WNBA has such a hard salary cap. But that's a discussion for the next CBA. So not really much I can say about that one. But we want to make sure that everyone here is feeling appreciated, and that's what we're doing. You know, we're here for more than just the money, and I think that's pretty obvious. We want to be around this franchise, this organization, and we want to win.
I think for me, setting the precedent is just taking less is kind of like a sacrifice that you have to make to be on a championship team. I mean, it just is what it is right now, and hopefully it's not always that way. But I think that, like Stewie said, that was not the main factor of us coming here. We want to sacrifice and play on a really good team so that we can compete for a championship. And you know, that's just the way it is. So
Thank you both. I'll miss you, Sloot.
I'll miss you too. And your cookies. Stewie says bring the cookies when we come to Chicago.
All right, I will.
Hi guys, all the way to your right. Mike Vorkanoff with The Athletic. First of all, welcome to New York. But Breanna, you said earlier on the car ride over here, you guys were like, wow, we actually made this happen. This is actually happening. How long had the two of you discussed playing together, specifically coming to New York to team together? And basically how long had it been in the works, and who was recruiting who and formulating this plan?
That's a good question. We were in conversations very early on. we were in constant communications, and we both expressed that we wanted to play together, but I think of course we had to make the best decision for ourselves. And that we met with a lot of the same teams because we did have that interest in playing with each other. I think, Stewie's a special individual, and she's somebody that I was, willing to meet with some teams across the country for. But ultimately it was way more than that. And, our goals aligned, and we both saw our futures being really bright here in New York. I think for different reasons, but obviously a championship in the forefront. And this roster is special, like we kind of talked about. It's not just the power that we brought in. They have an incredible amount of young talent. And we just wanted to add to this roster. We didn't want to come here and blow it up. We wanted to be additions, and I think that was the most important part. Nothing. You answered it for me.
Hi, Jennifer Williams, Fox 5 New York. So when the news broke, Stewie, that you were coming to New York, I saw an interview and Katie had called you maybe over the summer and said, hey, you can come here, build a dynasty. As we saw, it's tough to win a championship, let alone have a dynasty. How confident are you two? So this question is for both of you. How confident are you two that this is the team that can get the job done?
I think we're really confident that this is the team that can get the job done. I think that, when we've been sitting up here talking about other individuals like Sabrina, like JJ, like Benaja, and really everyone else, when you think of it, you think about excitement and the willingness and the want to play with those other great players. And this isn't something that's just gonna fall into place overnight, as Luke said, but we're willing to work to make it work. And I think that that's what's the most exciting thing is, yeah, it's going to be hard, but also it's going to be great. And there's going to be a lot of experiences that us as players and really everyone else has never had. And that's the hope, is to really bring it full circle back to New York, get the momentum around the Liberty, and put on a show for people every night.
I think for me, when you think of a dynasty, obviously you think of winning championships, but before that, before all the winning and everything, it's all about the people that you bring in. It's about the winning culture. It's about the commitment. It's about the sacrifice, all the intangible things that you need. And I think from the top all the way down, Jonathan and the rest of his team put together a great group of people that I think we have those intangibles. We have those things and the ultimate goal is, we create a dynasty. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. I think that's what we talk about when we hear that word dynasty. It's about doing the things that you have to do to win championships and create a culture here that, other players want to come in, or because that's the kind of place it is. And that's what they've started to create here. And that's what we wanted to be a part of.
We'll go to Robert O'Connell, Wall Street Journal.
Hi, thanks so much for taking the time today. Obviously a massive offseason for your organization, but for another organization as well out west, adding a player like Candace Parker. I'd be curious, you've talked about the standard being championships. Can you tell me a bit about trying to match, what Las Vegas has already accomplished, and just the excitement in the league of having this incredible player movement and these, two what look like on paper super teams entering the season?
Who's the question for?
For both of you.
I mean, when I thought about coming to the Liberty, it wasn't because of any decision that anyone else had made. So obviously, Vegas had success last year, and they brought in more players and more talent. But I think what we're focused on right now is what we're doing here in New York and what we're doing with the Liberty. And I think that as far as player movement, it's something that the league needs. And with the old CBA and the ability to core players multiple times, it didn't really happen much. And you're going to see it happening a lot more. And that means just player movement fan engagement is gonna go from one team to another team. It's just gonna make it more exciting, make things more spicy. You're gonna look up and I mean, it's gonna be weird to see us in a Liberty uniform. I think it's gonna be weird for us to see ourselves in a Liberty uniform, but it's what the league needs to continue to kind of grow the way that we want it to and the way that it should. And hot topic.
What she said. All right. We're going to open up for Jonathan, Sandy, and Clara. I'm going to start here with Doug. If I could get hands in the room, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Doug Feinberg, the Associated Press again. Clara, you and Joe were very active in recruiting, at least Stewie, I'm sure Courtney as well. Can you just talk about, I mean, last year, I think you guys had dinner in LA and then you were part of the group that went to recruiter in Turkey, just what it was like to be an active participant in this whole getting this team together.
Well, I feel that it's really not, it's essential to my role as governor to really promote why New York is an incredible destination for free agents. I think that it's the job of Jonathan and his team, but it's not only the job of JK, it's really a job of mine and also top to bottom, everyone in our organization. So it was really important for me to do everything I could to let them know that I was committed to not only to them, but really the growth of the league.
Hi, Clara. Alexa Philippou with ESPN. We heard Stewie and Sloot talk about the importance of moving the needle forward with off the court things in the league, such as chartering. So where do you see your role in helping propel that moving forward?
I just need to be a constant voice and be as influential as I can. As we know, I'll get fined if I talk too much about anything related to the collective bargaining agreement. Everyone knows where we stand on this issue, and I alluded to it earlier anyway in my remarks. But I do believe that it's now enough of a topic within the league and several other governors that it is going to be addressed by the commissioner.
Russ Steinberg from Boardroom, kind of piggybacking off of that question. Are you knowing that you have certain limitations with what you can and can't promise as far as the CBA and what the league imposes on you, what sort of message were you able to send both Stewie and Sloot when this topic came up, and how did you kind of pitch that you would move forward on issues like chartering flights or whatever their concerns may be?
I think that the fine we took and the actions that we made pretty much spoke for themselves. And I'm a person that is about actions and not words. But yes, I think it was, actually, we spent 3 days together in Turkey. So we had a lot of time really to talk about a lot of things. And hopefully, they understood that it really isn't just this one issue, but it's a number of things that we're moving forward. And that's what I was hoping to convey to them during this recruiting period.
Hi, Sandy. Owen Pence with a Winsider and Nets Republic. Did you ever dream you'd be able to coach a roster this good?
Yeah, Christmas came in February. Look, I think any coach, you always want to coach the best, and we're all about winning. So for Stewie and Courtney and JJ to want to come to New York, I mean, that says a lot of, not about obviously the coaching staff, which I think is really good, but also our front office and our owners who want to be the best organization, the WNBA. But the girls have spoken about it. Yeah, we've got these players who are amazing players, but now the real work starts. You can't start. We want to win a championship and bring that first championship to the Liberty, and but there's a process as well too, and that's what really excites me. Is just how all the pieces work together. And we talked about making sacrifices, but it's their games. You're still going to see the best of them, and it's up to the coaches to put them in the best position so we can have success. And we'll have to have a growth period for sure, because a lot of players, you can't just put them on the court and say go play. But that's what I love, and can't wait to get to work.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Brian Florenson from Nets Daily. This one's for Sandy. With the season expanding out to 40 games, just how important is it just to have that extra time so players can develop that chemistry and you don't have a situation where you put too much stress and onus on one particular player to sort of manage everything out?
Yeah, look, I think it's good. I think playing more games is great for the league. But I look forward for a training camp. I look back for my first year in New York last year, and we had so many injuries that some days I had 5 players. So I had to use the first month of the season to have training camp and develop that chemistry and learn a new system. It wasn't just the new players, it was a new coach and how we want to play. And my husband Olaf, he's on staff. He's coached Courtney before, and obviously I've coached against a lot of these players for so long. And but it will take time, but I think it won't take as much time as what everyone probably thinks, because of the kind of people they are. I mean, number one, kind of players, but how they go about doing their things. They're very unselfish, but we want to make sure we're playing in an entertaining way at both ends of the floor. And I think we're just going to continue to grow the more we get used to each other. And I think that's, as a coach, that's what you want. And as a players, they alluded to it. We've all won championships in the WNBA. We know they're extremely hard to win. My first year in Phoenix, I had you could say it was a super team, but they had failed the year before. And it wasn't just about me. It was just coming in with a good game plan and making sure everybody understands and accepts their roles. But without the buy-in from the players, we wouldn't have won. So you hear what they say, they're about winning. They understand it takes everyone buying in to be the best team we can be. That will be the journey. And that's what really excites me. Having a very positive culture is important for me. So yeah, I said that word again, culture. And we'll continue to grow that, and make it, I want them to look back and, hopefully the ultimate goal is to win, but to say, this is one of the best experiences I've ever had. So hopefully we can achieve that, not 1 year, but for multiple years.
We're going to go to Zoom next. Holly Rowe.
Oh, hi. I have a question for Clara. I know that you guys had met with Stewie before last year when she was a free agent, and then again. How did you guys finally get her, and what was important about that?
How did we get her? That's a question for Stewie. Look, we want to be championship contenders. We have some unfinished business to take care of, this franchise. And we knew that in order to be championship contenders, we really had to go out and be aggressive and be attractive to the top talent in the league. So that's why we put a lot of time and effort into trying to communicate what we're about. And, hopefully, it's the investment we've made in the facilities, in the locker rooms, playing at Barclays. Hopefully all of those things stood out and spoke to the players. But, it's always our intention to, absolutely, we want to have a super team. We want to create an incredible rivalry with the West. We're ready for it. I think we're excited by it. I mean, that's what makes us, I think that's what it was going to make us work really hard and get up in the morning, is to be able to beat that team in the West. So, what did it take? I don't know. I think it was really this alignment of the vision and trying to communicate my vision. And I'm glad that they felt the same way.
And then I had one other question just about, since you've signed Courtney and Jonquel, and this team is coming together, what's been the impact on ticket sales and the buzz and maybe merchandise, and just what business impact have you seen already?
It's been incredible. I think already our season ticket sales this time last year were up by over 55%. And this is only just the beginning of us being able to market them. So I think this is the best reason to buy season tickets, because it's going to be every game is going to be a show. And so I think that's exactly what we need. And so far the results are tracking with what we're expecting to see continue.
Hi, all the way to your right. this is for any one of you three, but Claire, at the beginning of the statement of this press conference, you mentioned player health and making sure that you guys are doing that well. And Breanna and Courtney both mentioned kind of, I think, moving the needle off the court. I know you don't want to talk to CBA and chartering flights and all that stuff, but what tangible things can you guys do to improve player health, to make it a more, hospitable work environment? And what do you have planned in that vein and talked about during the recruiting to make it happen over the course of next year?
JK could speak more specifically to the investments we've made in the performance team. But we started that last year, was adding significant resources to performance. And that's not only for mental health and wellness, but also for recovery. Do you want to speak more specifically to it?
Absolutely. That, I think, one of the most neglected areas in this league for a long time is player health. Especially when you have players going overseas, they're coming back. We have a camp and they're all in various states of condition. And I don't think it's talked about enough. And so for us, we have to, and we say it when we're going out and hiring these really elite people on the performance side, we don't want to just have the best performance team in the WNBA. We want to have the best performance team, period. And that's what we're committed to doing, because that's what these players deserve. Yeah, I mean, look, we're via the investment from ownership, we're going actively out to hire people that probably cost a lot, but they're the best at what they do. And we're bringing them here. And I think Stewie said this earlier, like, all of us just want to get better every single day. That's what we want to do. And I mean it. And so that's making sure we're going out and bringing the most elite people and the most skilled people at what they do, especially when it comes to player health, here to New York. And I think this is a pretty attractive place to come work at this point.
Hi, Jonathan and Sandy. This is a question for both of you. People are beginning to define this new era of not only Liberty basketball, but the WNBA as sort of this super team era. But I think what I want to know from both of you is, what is, I guess, a way to describe this new era besides using that super team moniker?
If you think back a few years, I think Minnesota Lynx had a bit of a super team, didn't they? I think there's been super teams all throughout the WNBA. But look, I think it's great. Look, it really does. We're trying to elevate the level. We're trying to promote our game and create those rivalries. I think that's great for the WNBA. Hopefully more fans can come and watch us, and we're like selling it. We're going global. We're not just thinking about just America. I think about going global and getting the best players. And in one team, we think we got some pretty special players, but Vegas got some special players. But for us, we're just focused on being the best team that we can be, and hopefully that ends in the goal that we've set out for ourselves. But I like I said, I don't think the super team, everyone's putting emphasis on that. Yeah, it's a super team, but there's been super teams before. I had one in Phoenix. I won a championship. It was great. It's good because we all want to win. And that's the goal. But it's, obviously not about the players. They sacrificed things to come here, but it's about the organization, why they wanted to come here. And that excites us. And, hopefully we'll continue to grow the league.
Yeah, I think also, like you said, we just want to push this league. Like, we want this to be the absolute best. And I think, look at the coverage that's been going on the past week or so. It's incredible. I haven't seen anything like it, to be honest. And we want to have the best players in the biggest market. And then from there, we're going to push the needle. And I really believe, like they alluded to, the show on the court, I think we're just going to have really high quality basketball night in and night out. And that's something that people are going to want to pay attention to.
Hi, Meredith Cash, Insider again. Jonathan, this is for you. Here.
Thank you.
Sorry. I asked you a question during JJ's presser, and you told me that you had her Liberty jersey in your office since last year. I'm wondering if you had a similar situation going on with Stewie and Sloot here, and more generally, if you could pick off of a roster of players how close this team is to what you would pick.
Yeah, so longest year of my life. I'm not lying. It's a really interesting process, given that we had a conversation last year, and trying to read the tea leaves via emojis, all those things. I'll be really honest with you. In my office right now, there's 3 names on a whiteboard, and those names have been up there since the fall. And it's Sloot, and it's Stewie, and it's JJ, and that's the truth.
Howard Migdal.
Thank you. Clara, one for you, Sandy. Clara, first, you talked about the fact that, the CBA kind of limits what you're able to do. And I know revenue is critical league-wide to be able to have all the teams be able to make these changes. And with that context, I just wonder how significant you think it is that expansion has been pushed back a couple of times, and whether there's a level of frustration over that.
I think we need the right valuation for the franchises. We can't sell them for less than they're worth. So, and I think it's really important to find owners that are willing to invest in cash. So, I think the expansion has to be careful and deliberate. And really the most important thing is to keep growing our revenues and all the metrics that I mentioned before, so that these valuations can be accepted. And, we've already seen other team valuations, are up, to pretty significant levels, at least when people have been selling little bits and pieces of their franchise. So everyone's optimistic, and the goal is to get that right valuation and find enough supply out there, for wanting a piece of it.
I appreciate it. And Sandy, mine is more of an on-court for you. Obviously you've had some time to process what this roster is like. In both Stewie and JJ, you have players who are capable, obviously, anywhere offensively 3 through 5, right? Do you think of, when you think of this team, when you kind of envision opening night, do you think of the 2 of them as a win a piece with people like, Han and Steph at the 5, or do you see them as, kind of interchangeable pieces? You intend to play more at the 5 position? Just wondering, in the way you visualize it, how it first looks.
Yeah, look, I think all these players are very versatile. Obviously Courtney is a point guard, should be the point guard. If it's Sabrina, can be a point guard. And I think that makes us really hard to guard. And the same thing applies to Stewie and JJ. I think that flexibility will help us to be the best team that we can be. And that really does excite me now that we know what players we have. The coaches are just working on how we want to play to make sure that we have the right system in place to utilize all their amazing skills that they have. So that's the next exciting part that will take part leading into training camp.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. Pepper again. This is a question for any of you. Just what message do you have for fans of the Liberty after creating this new team in New York?
It's hot ticket. Better get it before they're all sold out, I say. Who wouldn't want to see? This is some of the best players in the world in your own back door. So if we can't sell that, we never will. If any, people, Breanna Stewart, everyone knows Breanna Stewart. Well, here's your opportunity to come and watch. Okay, everyone knows Courtney Vandersloot with everything she's done. This is your opportunity. So that would, let's go. Let's go. It's a hot ticket.
Yeah, and I would first say thank you, because we have a lot of very loyal Liberty fans. So thank you for being loyal all these years, and, hold on to your seats, because now we're really bringing it.
Yeah, for me, I think that this is for the fans. They've been waiting a really long time for a team like this that's ready to contend. So honestly, can't wait to see them here. Last year's playoffs was really special. She kind of ended that early for us, but we're excited to have them in the building. Can't wait to get going.
This is for Sandy and Jonathan. We heard Courtney say earlier that she doesn't, they want to be additions. They don't want to kind of overhaul everything. And so from a culture perspective, how do you think Stewie and Sloot add to the culture that you all have been trying to create for the last few years now?
Immensely. I think I think these are two leaders that walk right through that door. And I think the puzzle fits. And I think what's really important here is we didn't just target the best names on a sheet and just try to get them all. We were really tactical about researching and going about getting people that will fit what we're building. And that's these two right here, as well as JJ joining. And I think I've sat up here many a time telling you how important culture is for us. It really is, to the point that now it's become a word that is almost overused, but it's just a certain way we do things, and these two are going to fit in great.
Yeah, look, I agree. It's the same thing. We went out, this is the needs that we had. We want to try and get the very best at them. And, you know, we're thankful that they chose to come to New York. And it's not just about the player, it's about the character. And I think both of these players, including JJ and the players that we have in that locker room, are high character people. And that certainly helps. And that's where you'll get the enjoyment factor out of it, because we love coming to work and working with each other.
Hi, Jeff Maglicetti with All Knicks and Baseline Sports NYC. My question is for Jonathan. You've been here for every step of the journey, from Westchester to Bradenton to the current setting in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you mentioned the rebuild is over, hybrid and all, what sort of culture do you feel has been established in that span? You talk about culture a lot. So what sort of culture has been established in that span? And what can you say about the resiliency and perseverance of both yourself and those who have been with you for most, if not every step of the journey here?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I think, well, first of all, I need to be clear, like, this isn't a team that's just been built in one off season. This is year over year. And I think it goes credit to players that were here that are no longer here. I mean, they leveled this franchise up, and those efforts need to be applauded. In terms of the culture, I think Sloot and Stewie said it. This year, it's all about sacrifice, and it's truly everybody, myself included. We all have to buy into this. This is something that looks great. It looks great on paper, but we have to see it play out. And I think advantages that teams have over us at the moment, it is that chemistry. And so we have to go get that, and that's going to come via sacrifice. And I think that year over year, we've started to establish that, and we're ready to really hit it home this year.
Okay. Hi, Melanie Anzide, Bergen Record newspaper. A question for anyone who wants to take it. Early on, we mentioned it was brought up how this would be the first championship in New York since 1973. So how significant would it be that a women's team could potentially be lifting this trophy in New York? And what does that say about women's sports overall?
I would love it. That's what I'll say. I would love it. I think for us to do it, it takes, look, these two can talk about what it really takes, and so can Sandy. But for me, it's talent, but it is that buy-in, it's that work ethic, and it's that sacrifice. And that's what these two and the rest of our team are about. And so for this team in this league to bring that home to New York, to me, that's everything.
Good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on Zoom. Folks in the room, we actually have a video presentation, a message from our fans. So if we can direct